What's up, guys? We're here with our first Valley Storage recap video of the year. We just got back from the FLW National Championship on the Harris Chain of Lakes down in Leesburg, Florida. And Noah's going to talk about how the beginning of our week went with practice.
All right, guys, so day one with practice, we stayed in between the locks. We wanted to find those quality fish by not going through the locks, by staying in. So we focused mainly on trying to find those fish that were getting pulled back into the canals. We were trying to find these fish within 6 to 8 foot of water in the back of canals. That's pretty much what we did the first day. We just ran around to different canals, kind of just looked at different depths, see what worked, see what depths were working best. Second day of practice, we went to a few new canals that we didn't really even plan on going to. We just wanted to see if we could see anything new, maybe see some spawning fish back there. But throughout the new canals, we only saw the bed fish that we saw were only 2-pound males. We never saw anything bigger than that. So we just tried to stay focused on those canals that were fairly deep and that were fairly clean.
Yeah, and on day one of the tournament, we ran to a canal where we had caught a 4-pounder in practice, and we had shook off a couple other fish. And it was the canal that everybody was running right past to keep on going up the Lake Griffin. So we knew that it didn't have a lot of pressure. And the pressure that it did have didn't really matter because we were throwing the new missile bait squibber. And we were throwing it in 2 different ways. I was throwing it on the Tokyo rig with a 1/4 ounce Woo tungsten weight. We were throwing the June bug color, both of us. And we really had to let that bait soak on the first day and the second day. Those fish have seen a lot of baits with the pro circuit being there the week before us, and they were really tucking up against the seawall, so we had to let that bait soak. I mean, one of them I was turning an alarm off on my phone when I looked up, my bait was 50 feet to the right of where I casted. Noah's going to show you his setup for day one as well.
Here's my setup for day one. I had a 18-pound sunline braid with a 12-pound sunline leader. Pretty short leader, not even as long as the worm, but this just gave it a different look. Throwing it behind Blake's Tokyo rig, and it really worked. It worked really well.
So then, towards the end of the second day, the cold front rolled in on us, and I picked up a couple fish on a chatterbait. And this was a jackhammer chatterbait. I don't really know the color of it, but it's a shad base with a painted blade, a chartreuse back, and just a pearl shockwave 3.25 rigged upside down so it doesn't mess with the action of the chatterbait. And keys for the chatterbait was to be able to make that bomb cast way away from the boat where those fish hadn't been spooked by the trolling motor yet. And I was using a Dobbins Champion 735 glass. It's actually the one that Gary Dobbins designed for throwing a chatterbait, paired up with a Daiwa Tatula TWS. And then, so he's going to talk about how day 2 of the tournament went.
Day 2, it was a lot colder than day 1. The bite was tougher for sure. Blake picked up a couple fish on that chatterbait day 2. And day 1, we just kept throwing that quiver. That quiver was the deal. And then we hit the back of the canal we fished the first day, and Blake was chucking that quiver around, and I decided to throw on a smaller bait just because the bite was slower. I wanted to throw something smaller, and I threw the missile base drop crawl natty light color. Once again, 6-pound or 10-pound leader with like a 6-inch drop right here, and I think I caught 3 fish within 20 minutes, and I think this just worked really well just because of the size of it. People were chucking big baits all week at them, and I think the key to that bite was really downsizing and using this drop crawl right here.
So in hindsight, we look back at this tournament, and the first day I jumped off 2 that would have helped our bag. He set the hook on 1, and we saw it come up to the surface, and it broke off at his leader, and it was definitely a big one. It would have helped our bag. We don't like to guess on weight. We don't want to tell fishermen stories, but it would have helped for sure. And the second day was the same story again, but except I didn't jump them off this time. I was the one breaking them off. Noah fished clean the second day. Looking back, we should have been more diligent with checking our line, checking our knots. Doesn't matter if you're using the best line in the world. I'm using Sunline Shooter. That line is it's like 4-wheel drive. You can throw it wherever you want. But after you catch a couple fish on it around docks and around metal seawalls, you got to be checking that line for frays. And your leader knots get beat up in that grass, and especially going through the eyes over and over and over again. You should be looking at them occasionally, making sure you are prepared for when that big bite comes. And also, we found some grass at the end of the practice, and we didn't spend enough time on it. We probably should have pulled out to it one of the days of the tournament to try and catch some fish. Dixie, come on. Dixie's in trying to get in the video, but all being said, we had our opportunities to be right there at the cut line, and it just didn't work out for us. I liked what we were doing. We were doing something different than anybody else was, and we were getting the bites. So it was a great week down in Florida. It's a lot colder here. There's still snow on the ground, and down there, we were complaining about it being cold when it was 50, but we're in for a rude awakening. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the end of next month when we go down to Lake Hartwell and wear out some spotted bass and hopefully some big old largemouth.